Good afternoon, all my beauty professionals. Today, I want to show you how to do an acrylic nail using a form. Now, I wasn't expecting this to be a two-part series, but I didn't want you guys to feel overwhelmed with all this information in one video, so I separated the two. Hopefully you watched my last video, how to do acrylic overlays for beginners. That's using a nail tip, but in this video, I'll be showing you how to sculpt an acrylic nail using a nail form. And while we're on that subject, another name for acrylic nails would be sculptured nails also. So that just means that you're sculpting your own nail out of acrylic using a form, a paper form, although they do have different forms out there. I used to use one from OPI, which was a metal form, one that was sanitizable and it could bend under any nail shape when you're sculpting the acrylic nails. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Thank you for your support on this channel. Like and share if you are truly learning from my channel. God bless you guys, and let's get into the video. Okay, so I was gonna delete, well, I deleted a lot of scenes in this video, but this particular scene I did not delete, only so you can see my video's not perfect. Sometimes it's nice to show flaws in the video, and definitely in this one it was a flaw because I ended up etching, removing the dust, priming, only to find out that this nail that I had been working on all this time had silk on it. So then I had to prep another nail. Now your table setup for acrylic forms is the same. The only thing is you don't need tip cutters. You don't need nail clippers like I have on my setup. I just didn't move them off. You don't need nail tips. You basically just need your acrylic brush, your TPTs, your powders that you're going to use, files, buffers, your nail forms. I'm not sure if I said primer, but you need primer, and your monomer, of course. And then you would have a trash bin close by, which I used a trash bag because that's all I had. I do not have metal lid trash cans right now at home. So, as you notice, I etched and sketched the wrong nail. Now I'm etching and sketching the right nail. And etching, you guys, just means lightly sanding the surface of the nail, making it mildly rough so the acrylic can adhere. But you are not filing holes into someone's nail plate. And if you noticed, I was following the pattern of the nail by going around, like as in around the cuticle and downward. So with the nail forms, what I do is I peel that little thumb piece off and I place it under that part there that I'm getting ready to put under the nail plate for more reinforcement. And really you want the nail plate to be flush with the nail form so that there's no gaps in there and so that the acrylic won't seep through and be on the client's skin. What you want is a flush nail so that it actually looks more natural. So, as you can see there, the nail is flush. It's kind of rounded, so I don't just pinch the whole form where it's like crumbled and triangular underneath. I actually kind of round it. Now, here's one thing. I actually love OPI's nail forms because if they still make them the same, for their paper forms, they had one round end, so if the client's nails were rounded, and the other side was square, so if their their nails were square. So as you can see, I'm placing my first bead always in the middle, and then I'm drying my brush out some because that brush is a little larger. And then I pat side to side, but as I'm doing that, I'm shaping how I want the free edge to be. And in this case, you can't really see, but I went over the free edge. So in other words, I didn't put the acrylic directly on the edge of the nail. I go past it, and you could do it longer if you want to. I could have done stiletto shape or however, but I would go past that free edge because that's what's building an acrylic nail. If you just put it on someone's free edge, then you're just putting acrylics on their nails, which you can do. So let's say if someone just wants to grow their nails out, they want them to be stronger, they're not really looking for any extra shaping, you can add acrylic to people's natural nails that are trying to grow them out. So a lot of times when you see people with extra long nails and it's their natural nail, it's acrylic to help keep them strong. So I went past the free edge. I shaped up how I want my nail shape, which I did square. Now I'm placing my second bead, and this particular part of the nail, I'm just doing my gold glitter part. And then I'm going to go back and cover it, or we call it cap it, in clear. But I always place my bead in the middle, and remember that's the stress area, so you want that part to be a little bit thicker. Although when you're doing colors, you don't want to do your colors really thick because you're going to cap it in a clear or translucent pink, and that portion is actually the acrylic nail. Otherwise, when you do that, it will be so thick. So I'm not sure if you can see this, but my cuticle bead is always going to be the smallest. And I'm still angling the finger downward and using my brush to go downward. And then I'm swiping it over the middle bead and the free edge. So in this point, I'm building the nail because I want to do gold glitter. So in other words, when I cap it in clear and I file, it's going to be a gold glitter nail. So now I've done all the beads on that. Now I'm going to come back and cap it in clear. So I had to get rid of that bead because that wasn't thick enough. And don't be afraid to get rid of your beads, you guys. A lot of times, for some reason, we feel like we just have to use the beads that we formed on our brush. But just remember this, with regular, like this liquid that I'm using here, you have about 15 to 30 seconds to work with it. So while you're sitting there looking at your brush, wondering if you're going to use it or not, your acrylic is curing in your brush. So you don't want to do that. If you have to question it, get rid of it right away. There's competition monomers out there. I don't think I've spoken about that. But when you're using a competition liquid, you only have about 15 seconds to get your acrylic where you want it to be. So in this case, I'm glad I have regular monomer to work with because I still have between 15 to 30 seconds to form my acrylic to where I want it to be. So what I love about acrylics, honestly, is that it's kind of like playing with a Play-Doh. And you don't have to be intimidated by it, you know. So once you get the hang of it, I would encourage you to have fun with your acrylics, you know. You get to shape it to how you want to be. And hopefully in some future videos, maybe I'll demonstrate how to make flowers. I'm kind of rusty at it right now, but let me practice a little and I can show you guys how to make 3D nail art, like, you know, flower petals. What was the ones I could do? They're white with the yellow inside. I think they're lilacs. You know, there's so many fun things you can do with acrylics. Once you get the hang of it, you can just go wild with it. There's art paper that you can use. I've done starburst nails before with the wrappers. Some people use money, which is illegal, just so you know. But there's a lot you can do. So now I'm tapping it for that clicking noise to see if it's dry. And it's not quite dry yet, so we wait. And in the meantime, while we're waiting, I'm kind of cleaning my brush off. Now, this is me personally. I don't use brush cleaners because they can interact in the ferrule of the brush with the monomer that has been soaked up there, and that can cause a reaction with your acrylic the next time you do a full set. So I prefer to dip my brush in the monomer that I'm using, and as you can see, I have it in between the paper towels because there was a little hardened acrylic in there. Not too hard, but there is some hardened acrylic in there. Right now, I'm disposing of my leftover powder. And what I did for my monomer was I used some TPTs to just soak up the extra monomer and wipe it out. And then once I've cleaned that out, what I'll do is put a dab of soap in that dish and just kind of swish soap and water out of the dish, you know, to clean it out. And then same with the powder, you know, put a little soap and just wash it out a little. Now I'm using my nail file and you can still hear the clicking noise. So now I'm going to remove the form, and you'll see the dotted lines there. So you can just pull it apart and then you carefully push it down and just pull out from under the nail. And I just do that just for precaution, you know, because you just never know. I've had times when it wasn't completely dry and the whole bottom half of the nail comes off. So now I'm doing my filing, my shaping, and this actually is the most boring part of an acrylic service. But I tell you, like I said in my last video, you want to apply your acrylic so well that it doesn't take up a lot of your time in the service to file. You shouldn't spend a lot of time filing and buffing. And once you file and buff, you remove that residue. And then if you're going to do a gel polish, you would do your gel polish and then you do your cuticle oil, and then you have them go wash their hands. You wouldn't do it prior because the gel needs to be on a rough surface. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Bye guys.